say you're not involved. Don't try to convince yourself that these problems don't affect you at all. Because now it's Lebanon, Azania, Grenada. How many more? Tell me now. How many more? Don't you stand on the sidelines and watch your children go off to war. Don't stand back and wait for this violence to come to your door. Because now it's Chile, Guatemala, El Salvador. How many more? Tell me now. How?
Peace and love. Welcome to the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition. I am Brother Frank, and I'm here to let you know about the work that we have to do. And welcome to the U.S. Political Prisoners and You. This show, we'd like to just thank the Black Power Media for giving us the opportunity to speak about our political prisoners and how they relate to our current reality. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to be a part of some work that a number of grassroots organizations put together, so I have to shout them out. It was the People's Campaign for Parole Justice. It was in Albany at the Capitol, and they had an excellent organizing demonstration. We came together. We targeted a number of people who were going to support the bill that was on hand. The bill was dealing with parole for elderlies, and there were a number of issues that were being raised around that idea, because it was about you had a model so-called prisoner who was really going to have an opportunity to get parole. But if you want to know more details about that, just search People's Campaign for Parole Justice, and the information be right there available for you. I just wanted to give them a salute, because that's an important campaign. Just while I was part of that campaign, with a number of other people, I was educated on that, because it's very important that you take the theory to your reality, to your community, to your people, and you struggle where they're at. You tell them about what you're into and why you're into what you're into. But let's move along with our program. African Liberation Day, right? Let's just go back into the history of it. So, because when we reflect on what something means currently, it's important for us to understand the history of it. When did it start, and who were involved in it, and then we start understanding the importance and the power and the significance of it. And we can utilize those examples today, because obviously, the struggle continues. We have to get in where we can and do our part. We can't leave this responsibility to others, right? So in 1972, May 27th, marked the first African Liberation Day ALD demonstration, which drew approximately 60,000 demonstrators across the United States and Canada. The demonstration held on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. At this particular this demonstration, you had between 20,000 and 25,000 who marched. What was significant about this, about the first ALD, is actually you had Imam Jamil Al-Amin, formerly known as H. Rap Brown, who was part of the coordinating committee. And I think that that's significant, because he is currently a political prisoner. And we know that he needs to be home with us. We have to bring him home. We have to do what is necessary to bring him home. We were told before by his son, it was on Instagram, that he has 10 months to live. And we have to do our best to get as much time as possible when he does come home, because we are not giving up until he's home with us. But let me continue. And other locations aim to show support for African liberation struggles and the fight against colonialism and white minority rule in Africa. The event included speakers like Ralph Abernathy, Max Stanford, Angela Davis, Stokely Carmichael, and Jesse Jackson. The ALD demonstration grew out of a trip by Black activists to Mozambique, liberated areas in 1971. I just want to pause for a second, right? So now you're saying that you're saying that a group of committed revolutionaries, activists, Pan-Africanists went to Mozambique, and they actually seen what was happening, and they wanted to support that demonstration of securing it, people's self-determination, and they decided that they were going to do something in a way where those who were not aware of the victories in Mozambique needed to be made known, and they were going to do this through a mass demonstrations in a number of locations, as I just mentioned. So the ALD demonstration grew out of a trip by Black activists to Mozambique's liberated areas in 1971, and a subsequent meeting in Greensboro, North Carolina, and covered by Owusu Sadauki. The demonstration served as a platform for Black activists to express solidarity with the African liberation movements and to challenge the oppressive systems that existed both in Africa and in the United States. The first ALD demonstration was a significant event in history of the Pan-African movement, highlighting the interconnectedness of struggles for liberation and justice both in Africa and the diaspora. Walter A. Rodney, he was one of the speakers, and I think that what he said was very important and very powerful, and it was powerful then, and it's also powerful now. He said, Black unity must be international because we live in every continent through no choice of our own. Yes, that's a very important point, and it allows us to realize that we have a common interest, and we have to do what is necessary to advocate for what's best for us, and that has to be done through discussion. That has to be done through efforts in how we support one another. Right? We do demonstration where we're at to get these local politicians to co-sign what we're saying, and do it in a real way, a way that is beneficial to the people who are taking a stand, who are taking a position, who are deciding that, you know, what's been happening for so long is going to come to an end, and it's going to come to an end on our terms. And we have the right to be self-determined. We have the right to control our own destiny, and it has to be done in an organized manner. There's a timeline that I think is very important for us to discuss and observe, because then we start understanding how things came to be. So in 1958, Kwame Nkrumah founded the first conference of independent states in Accra, Ghana, and declared April 15th as African Freedom Day. In 1960, 17 African countries gained independence, solidifying the momentum of the decolonization movement. And in 1963, the OAU was founded, and May 25th was proclaimed African Liberation Day. So you see that there are a number of events that took place, and out of those, you had a monumental things occurring, right? Such as African Liberation Day. Regardless of how you might see things turning out from a particular situation, you still were given a model, given an idea that actually would impact current situation. We see what's happening right now in a number of African countries, the Sudan and Congo. You know, we wonder what we can do, right? And that's why we have to have these discussions. That's why we have to make a decision on what position we're going to take, examine organizations that are doing the work, and show solidarity, right? Sympathy is appreciated, but solidarity is necessary, because through solidarity is which real change occurs. I wanted to get into this particular book. This particular book that I have is Malcolm X, The Last Speeches, and he's at an interview. And during this interview took place. It was Bernice Bass interview, December 27th, 1964. So this is when Malcolm is no longer with the Nation of Islam, and he's being asked a number of questions. Said the Western press tries to make it appear that there is a division among Africans. In any bloc or group that has a common objective, you will find disagreements. But overall, there's unity. I think during World War II, America had her allies, and their common objective was to gain victory over a common enemy. But even within that body of allies, there were differences. Wow, what a powerful, important point. And that point allows me to look at a situation and say, wow, we sometimes, well, far too many times we think that, we all have to be on the same page. All we have to do is unite on a particular objective, right? And that's where I come to play on the idea or the concept rather of political prisoners, right? Regardless of what organization are you with, what's your position as it relates to political prisoners? I would love to hear what you have to say. You can contact me at 347-679-3936. Again, that's 347-679-3936. I think that we have differences, and I think that we can work through those differences. And right, key word is work, right? Because out of those differences, we have to decide, what actions are we going to take? How are we going to be united? How are we going to express that unity amongst our people to encourage them to be a part of an organized action? And that's one thing that I loved about yesterday. I mean, not yesterday, May 19th, right? May 19th, you had the December 12th movement organizing the economic shutdown in remembrance of Malcolm X, commemoration of Malcolm X, right? Because that is true respect when you actually go into the community, our community, and let our community know what we can do when we're unified. Uh, I had attended the gravesite that's been going on for a number of years, and you have brothers coming from different and sisters. Excuse me, I'm sorry, sisters, but you had sisters as well there. They was present. We were talking about the significance and importance of Malcolm, his history, and I think that that was very important because it allowed others to reflect on how Malcolm has impacted our lives, right? Regardless of where you're at, you're still thinking about, the words of Malcolm X and how he was at the forefront of what he needed to deal with, right? Because, you have certain leaders that would send people to do other tasks that they're not willing to do. But Malcolm was out there doing the work, organizing the people, talking to who he had to talk to about what's relevant at the time. And I think that when we reflect on Malcolm X and we reflect on his contribution, his sacrifices, and his immense sacrifices, we have to ask ourselves, what does Malcolm mean to us? And when we talk about African Liberation Day, it's the same thing, right? How do we translate that into 2025 when we're dealing with ethnic cleansing in our community? We're dealing with the violence in our community. We're dealing with fentanyl. We're dealing with drugs in our community. Obviously, they're there for a particular reason. Our oppressor wants us to remain disunited, and we have to combat that with unity. And it has to be done in a passionate, loving way, just the way Malcolm showed us love, just the way those organizers at the first African Liberation Day uh, events, demonstrations did. They were together, they were organized. At these demonstrations, you've seen our culture being expressed. You've seen demonstrations of self-defense techniques. You've seen children, you see families. And I think that that is very important. Whatever you decide to do politically, you should involve your family. Your family should be made aware about what you're doing, and they should have a role in it. And you should give them assignments and follow up those assignments. That's one of the things that I did with my son. I had my son write Jalil Abdul Mutakim. Jalil wrote him back, and my son was made aware of the power and importance of political prisoners, the fact that they're real. So that's the assignment that I would like to give those who are viewing now. I'm always providing contact information on our political prisoners, and I want those who are viewing to please share these contact information. Write to a political prisoner, they'll write back. If you are close enough, if you have the necessary means by which it can get done, visit a political prisoner. They'll love to hear from you. I know yesterday, while me and members of Hala, Corey, and Jasiri, we while we were in Albany, I was in communication with Joy Powell. I was letting her know what I was doing. I was trying my best to give her play-by-play coverage of who I was speaking to. I provided her with the contacts because in my mind, what I want to do is provide political prisoners with the contact, those who might have interest in what we're doing and who want to support. Peace and love, my brother. I was waiting on you. I thought you missed me, man. How you doing?
Nah, Man, I was struggling to get on, man. I sent you a couple of texts, but here we are.
No problem, man. So let's get with the program. I briefed our audience on the history of African Liberation Day. I talked about the first African Liberation Day. I talked about the thousands of people who participated and the fact that it was in different locations. And one of the organizers was Imam Jamil Alamin H. Rap Brown. He was part of the coordinating committee to get that done. So what I want to do right now that you're on is let us know who you are and what African Liberation Day means to you.
My name is William R. Hargraves III, and what African Liberation Day means to me is that it's a shame that we have to have African Liberation Day because, if you really want to tell the truth, the whole world should be celebrating African Liberation Day. That's how it feels, what it means to me, because the African people gave the world everything. It gave them mathematics, philosophy, science, medicine, you name it. We dance, music, what we haven't given them against all odds. So, I mean, it means everything. It's just it means the same as Black History Month, Juneteenth, MLK Day, anything that's going to put a shine a light on us because we have to force feed people, even some of our own folks, to realize how royal, great kings and queens, how rich our history is. Because, I mean, based and today being the day after the 100th anniversary of the birth of Malcolm X, and one of the things that he said is that, you know, he's out of prison, but a lot of us who never actually went into a man-made prison is still in prison because they're in prison mentally. And these type of days bring an awareness that a lot of us won't otherwise seek or engage in, and it hopefully opens up our mind and our change so that we can free ourselves from the mental prison that our oppressors have tried to inflict on us forever and a day, and still today.
Yes, I appreciate that breakdown. I know that you're a family man, and prior to you coming on, I was talking about the importance of having our family involved in this work because when you look at the original African Liberation Day march or celebration, or rather being accountable for what was going on nationally, internationally, you saw families being involved. And you saw the children, the elders, you saw dancing, you saw expressions of culture. And I think that allows us to understand that we have to include our family. We have to give them a role in doing this type of work, especially those who are coming after us. Because if you're a parent like me and you are, and you got somebody behind you that's like 20 years younger than you or 30 years younger than you, though naturally the process is that they have to pick up the work. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is through going to demonstrations, having assignments, get that proper training. So you as a family man, how important it is for your children to be involved in African Liberation Day celebrations and recognitions.
Well, first of all, I feel like everybody should immerse themselves in it, and I feel like the family component is real important because it either could be your strength or your weakness, and I must speak to our oppressors again. They realize the strength in the family unit. That's why they've always tried to do whatever they can to to um minimize it, separate it, make it okay, to not talk about family structure. But many times you talk to people, no matter who it is, they talk about we have to teach the kids, we have to teach the kids about our background and what have you. And a lot of the adults don't know. So I say this as a twofold message. I agree with the family structure, and I believe that if everybody should they're understanding their liberation and the importance of who they are as an individual being has to start with the family. It has to start with the father and the mother, the husband and the wife. It has to start. That has to be their foundation. Because if they got a solid foundation on their proud history of who they are, and it will always serve them well, because like I'm gonna refer Malcolm to Malcolm again. He said, "Who taught you to hate yourself?" I mean, be proud of your wide nose and your lips and what have you, and your tone, because the same people who teach you to make fun of yourself or belittle each other, one another behind them, they spend thousands of dollars to mimic what you got naturally. And by even just saying things like that positive reinforcement makes people walk straighter, taller, and you can't break them and divide them. So it's very important to me to have a solid foundation within a home.
Excellent, excellent point. There's when we demonstrate in the streets and we are part of a political organization, we are actually acting out practice, right? And so for us to get to that point, we have to have a theoretical development. And one of the words, or the couple of words that Walter A. Rodney has spoke at the original African Liberation Day, he said that we are saying that we identify with the African people of the African continent. We are saying that we are an African people. And when we make this identification, we have no illusions about the fact that this is a very revolutionary initiative. It is a rejection of every other form of identification which the white society has asked us to accept. So by you accepting yourself as an African, what does that mean for you nationally and internationally?
Well, what it means for me nationally is that whenever I introduce myself as an African American, always. Because we have to have a beginning like everybody else. We have to have an origin, and I make that plain as day nationally. Uh, and it also means nationally, it means that you have to continue to get in these streets, roll up our sleeve, and fight. I have a saying: "I'm here for the fight, not for the finish," because we never going to finish fighting. And internationally, what it means to me is to embrace our brothers and sisters. I don't want to say abroad because in my mind they're not abroad; they're just in Africa. And if you ever go to Africa, they tell you they welcome you back home, and sometimes they even apologize for letting us get away. So that's my connection. I feel like that link and those chains are always to be fortified and never broken. Because mentally, I believe that. And we always, even with the African Liberation Day, it was before that. The precursor was the African Freedom Day, which had a conference in Ghana in April of 1958. So African people always realized the importance to big up their liberation, the progress of the liberation. So that's what it means to me. That every term, every opportunity that presents itself, and even we have to create those opportunities that you always big up your African people.
Absolutely, because out of Africa comes everything, and we're looking at what's going on in Burkina Faso.
Mm-hmm.
The president is getting a lot of support, and that's admirable. And we have to continue that support. We have to be very concerned and cautious about those who are not supporting him, because obviously those people are in opposition to our self-determination, because our self-determination is a reflection of not only here but in Africa as well, because it's the model of how we're going to live our lives and how we're going to control our destiny. So when you see what's happening in Burkina Faso and having admiration for that, what would you tell people who may not be involved in work to support that? What would you tell them that about that in terms of its significance regarding what came out of the original African Liberation Day
I
celebration?
would. That's easy. I would tell them to read. To read. That I mean, if you really want to be educated, forget what other people say. Pick up a book and read. And have your children read too. And you don't have to take it in big doses. You can take it in small increments, but educate your mind. I mean, lubricate your thinking. So if you read and you dig into it, or listen to radio station that's going to tell the truth about us, WBAI, stations of that nature. So you can listen to mainstream. Don't listen to CNN. Channel 7, because they don't have our best interest. So you have to do your own research. This way, it stays with you. You don't go on the internet and just grab it because you're not going to remember. You do your own research, you do your own reading, and it will stay with you like a fossil print on your brain. So that's what I would tell people before they do anything. Just read and understand it for yourself. And if you can't understand it when you start reading, reach out to brothers like Frank or myself, and we can help you walk you through it so that you have a better, clear understanding of what's going on and why we need you.
Absolutely. We need as many soldiers as we possibly can get because of this is a serious war, right? It's a war of ideas, and you have to get in where you need to be and be comfortable with what you're doing. You mentioned about history and you mentioned about learning. Malcolm taught us that history is best rewarded to reward all research. And I probably messed it up a little bit, but the whole point is doing your research and then committing yourself to being educated. Malcolm traveled; he seen things for himself, and I think that that's very important for people to travel. You have to go to where people are, and that's exactly what inspired the African Liberation Day demonstration. It was because a group went to Mozambique, seen things for themselves, decided that they were going to support what they seen, and get others to do so wherever they were. And it was this collective demonstration of solidarity that inspired people to continue to fight harder and stronger because that was the only way that change was going to happen. What do you think we should be getting out of African Liberation Day in terms of the first African Liberation Day, how that was demonstrated for us and how we utilize it today? How can that be utilized today?
I think, like I said earlier, I think you should take the opportunity to immerse yourself into African culture, whether it's play some African music in your house. I mean, get African art. Get at least African. If you're from Africa, okay, put one piece of African art in your house. I mean, African literature, read African cuisine. I mean, just immerse yourself. Just take one day, take a baby step. Take one day and say, all right, I don't think I'm gonna change my mind, but I'm gonna listen to what the brother said. I'm gonna take a shot and let's see. Because sometimes just by dipping your toe in the water, you realize how refreshing and rewarding it can be. Just don't be scared to be African. Don't be scared. Black people are scared to say African American. Don't be afraid to do that.
And one of the things that I wanted to discuss, right, with the last 2 minutes we have is about political prisoners and how what was done on the first African Liberation Day demonstration, as well as when we recognize Malcolm X at 100 years old, how there's recognizing the significance and importance of these moments in our liberation struggle. How does that translate to advocating for the release of our political prisoners?
Well, it's part and parcel. I mean, unless you think that we're free and equal, even if you have certain hangups that might prevent you from, diving headfirst into the struggle, just ask yourself this. Ask yourself, do you think that you're equal? Do you think that you're free? Do you think that your child or your unborn child or your grandchild or what have you is going to get a fair shot and equal shot as anybody else, those that don't look like them? And you think about the political prisoners. You think about how there was a proliferation of them around up, in particular in the 60s and what have you. And some of them are still either incarcerated or have died in jail. I mean, even if they was wrong of rightfully um, found wrong or any wrongdoing, I should say, how long do you spend in jail for that crime, if there is a crime? I mean, they're giving them more time than you give murderers and rapists. People have 40 years, 50 years. That's absurd. So unless you think that we're equal and you think that racism has ended, then you're fine. But if you're honest with yourself, I can't think anybody who would think that, then you owe it to yourself to not to wait till it hits your doorstep. But when they hit one of us, they hit all of us. Yeah, I think like that.
Absolutely. You know, we can't let our political prisoners die in prison. I provided some
Free 'em
contact
all.
for those who need to be involved in this work. All of us need to take some time to think about our political prisoners, write to them. They're going to write back. You know, don't let them die in prison. Y'all know the call. Free them all. What's the
Free 'em
call?
all. Free 'em all.
All right, brother. Appreciate your time. I know the importance and the value of it. So I'll see you in the streets, my brother.
I see you when I see you, Frank.
Ever see Indians live proud and free before the oppressor's slavery? Black people live proud and free. How many more? Tell me now. How many more? Don't you stand on the sidelines and say you're not involved. Don't try to convince yourself that these problems don't affect you at all. Because now it's Lebanon, Azania, Grenada. How many more? Tell me now. How many more? Don't you stand on the sidelines and watch your children go off to war. Don't stay